borders of Puke Park Raceway. We've got the two Sanyong bridges and we've got the Sanyong sweeper down the front here. And
they're definitely bunching up the field this time.
Yeah, I think they've wised up to this now. So up the top of the hill they come. Matt Whitaker again in control in the 991 GT3. Alongside him, it's Ian Hare in the older model GT3. A 997, that car. Has been hot rodded a bit, but it's not going to be a match for the... Although, talking to Craig Baird, he prefers the older one to the new one. Okay, here they come. Down under the bridge for the first time. Heading for the start line. Is it going to go this time? Yep, yeah, they've got to go. The lights are out and they're gone. And Ian Hare gets the jump on Whitaker down into turn one. Is he going to come across the bow? Whitaker, no. Whitaker manages to hold him out. Look at this. Matt Griffin and John Veth had it, the two of them, into turn one as well. So the BMW of M3 GD3 of Matt Whitaker gets past John Veth. So... Sorry, Matt Griffin, I do apologise. You got Matt Whitaker in the lead, and he's, as I said, he's already opened up James.
Not one car decided to go around the outside on turn one. That's how everyone's thinking of a safety-orientated plan, rather than getting that one position, taking a lot of risk.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was what a flying start. That was a great start there. Took them two goes at it. Now you can see some of the guys at the back who are in championship position further down are starting to move through the field, James. You can look at Andrew Nugent powering through there in the Burrows seating BMW M3.
Yeah, well, given that it was off championship position, we are going to see some passing under power to start with. There's going to be some raw pace coming into effect.
So down through the gap they come, up over the hill for the very first time, under racing conditions anyway, and it's Matt Whitaker. Ian Hare's trying to hang on to him in the GD3, and then you've got John Veth, or it could be Glenn Smith in the car. Already, look how much they've dropped off Griffin, and he's already lost the position to... Who's Griffin lost the position to? I'll tell you what, that was a little Subaru there of... wow, fantastic, that little Subaru of Nick Archibald up there, and he's got past Graham Fraser. Those two are fighting over championship positions. Is there a penalty involved here? We'll need to talk about timing people. Do you know somebody in timing, James?
No, I don't know anyone. But in terms of track position, the Porsche is definitely still in the lead.
Yeah. Look at this battle going on here now. Look at Veth down the inside, having a look down there. That's not a very wide line through there. And he put his nose in there, but Ian had him covered. Now, when you're looking at the track from up here, James, looking across now through turn 1 into 2, 3 and 4, you can see the sheen off the circuit, and then there's that very dark, dry line right through the middle. There's not a lot of room offline, is there?
Yeah, well, in this situation, it's not necessarily who's got the fastest car, but it's who's willing to constantly test how quickly they can get their car through the corner. It's about reassessing at every corner, literally, as it dries, how fast you can get through it.
So, of course, if we don't get any shit... Look at this battle going on down here between the Subaru and the BMW. They're having a great time, those two. That is Graham Fraser, and actually our timing system is a little bit up the chute, and I'll tell you why it is. That's better.
Oh, yeah, we've got the sort mode correctly, so we had it in qualifying mode. But back on track, that actually... confirms that John Veth is currently the quickest car on track, which is interesting. Being in third, we could see him, although he's having trouble. He's having trouble catching up with Ian here there. He hasn't got the extra gusto to get past.
Yeah, he's... Now, John, we'll have a shout out for John here, and that's in the Farmlands Commodore. He actually does all the work on that car himself. Right? He manages farms, that's what he does for a living. And he keeps the car in his shed at home.
So you're trying to say it's quite agricultural in the way that it's put together?
No, he's actually reasonably... He loves working on his own car and preparing his own car. So he doesn't have a big team or a big workshop behind him with mechanics crawling all over it. He does all the work himself. So
in some ways, it's one of the better ways to do it, because as soon as anything goes wrong, you know exactly what's gone wrong. Because you know exactly.
Oh, hang on, we've got a safety
together.
car issue. We have safety car. Let's see what's happening here. Okay, we've got somebody off somewhere. Let's see if we can pick it up. Still got no live feed on our screen, so I can't tell where that is around the track. And
they've rolled the safety car out pretty quickly, though, so it must be in a precarious position.
we'll try and see if we can pick up where that is.
And then I moved over to Sweden. Actually ran a track in Sweden, and I was quite fortunate. Did some Danish touring cars, went off and did Nürburgring 24-hour, and did some testing for the LMP2 class. But as we all know, money talks, and I didn't have enough money at the moment at that point to talk.
So I believe the call came for a track manager at Hampton Downs once Tony had taken it over, and that's where you're sitting now.
Yeah, well, I'd actually came back from Europe in beginning of 2010, and I hooked up with Formula Challenge down at Taupo, which do the V8 drive experience, and I ended up running that for a couple of years and got to know Tony Roberts. And so when TQ came in and took it over, Tony Roberts and a few others threw my name in the hat, and I had the phone call from TQ, and 2 years later I'm still there, which is a good thing apparently in Tony's world. And but no, I've been fortunate enough. I've done some V8 Ute racing, raced in the endurance series back in 14 and 15. We had a Radical one year, and then we had a Skyline the following year. And so it's good to be back in the series, and it's great to see how over the last 3 years it's developed, and just how the cars have developed and the driver skills have developed as well. And it's just really bringing it up there. And from my point as a driver coming into the series so far into it, it's good to see that progress. And as a driver, it's the type of category that I think is going to grow in New Zealand.
Certainly, I totally agree with that one, yeah. And okay, so there we are, folks. That gives you all an idea of who Elton is. So he's more than a capable replacement for Andre Heimgartner in the Hughes Hamilton Asphalt's car. So we've had a whole swag of pit stops while the safety car's been out. So they've all done their pit stop, because I think the pit stop window has obviously been open for a little while, so because they have to do a compulsory pit stop, and you still see how wet it is there. Barry Kirkman just come out of pit lane, lit it up, and got a real tank slapper on. So it's very wet out there. Not flying anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, the pit lane obviously is under the shade at the moment, but especially with a cold set of slicks on as well, it's not going to be the best place to put your foot down coming out of pit lane there.
No,
but,
that's true. That's true.
Gives the marshal something to smile at.
Yeah. So James was referring to it earlier on. Hang on, I think we've still got. We're going to go. No, we've still got. Tony's got the lights on, so we're still going to do another lap behind safety car. Just try and pick up what the actual issue is, because I don't know where it is around track.
Drivers out, but also we need to look after the volunteers as well.
Oh, that's right. I mean, we could actually, in talking of volunteers, Elton, that was one thing I do need to bring up. For all the drivers here at the track, drivers and crews, we've got our volunteers gift box in the sign-in room. If you've got a bottle of wine or a gift of some description, box of chocolates, whatever it may be, go and drop it in there, because we give it to the marshals at the end of the day, and that's really appreciated by them, because they stand out here. They don't get paid, do they, Elton?
No, absolutely. And I mean, considering those guys were here, we called the race off at.
Okay, we're going to go live here.
Going green in a second.
So, yep, and we've got at the front, it is Andrew Nugent in the Burrows seating car, and there's Chelsea Herbert's actually the race leader at the moment as she comes across the line. And Peter Ward is running second place. So we've got, who we got there? Ward, and we've got the Scuds running third, and Matt Griffin's fourth. So and they're all basically line astern on track at this point in time. And I've got a funny feeling Matt might have actually done a pit stop.
Yeah, so that's going to be actually interesting, seeing the likes of. Wardy and Brett are good battlers in the Ute series, so having those two close together is always interesting anyway.
Yeah, so now look at the Porsche coming through the field there, and Matt Griffin in the M3. That M3 is fast in a straight line. Yeah,
well, I mean, the Porsche's only just starting to pull it in under the brakes up there now, so. And actually nearly collected Scud on the way into the corner.
So, young Max, he's certainly been a find this season. I mean, he's two years in a row he's won the BMW E30 Championship, and the Mortimers decided he was good enough to throw him in this car.
Yeah, and I mean, Warwick and Andre have got a lot of history in motorsport, and if they've seen something in Matt, then that's a real positive. And just from what I've seen from Matt just out on the track over the last sort of 6 months at Hampton on his days there, he's definitely got some talent and definitely got some skill there.
Okay, look at this down across the line. This is Andrew Nugent. Now, he's going to be going for it because he does not want to go down a lap. And now he's not going to go down a lap to these guys because this is Chelsea Herbert and...
Verity, isn't it?
Oh, look at that. Oh, who's that?
Whittaker,
Matt's offline. He's got that completely out of shape through there. That was a great save because that Porsche was at a 45-degree angle of the track.
Absolutely. Let's just let Matt get right up on his bumper again. But looks like Matt's just maybe missed a gear on the way out there and just lost a few car lengths.
So down the back straight they go now, and Chelsea Herbert's trying to get past. She's the leader of the race, and I think this is going to be putting Whittaker back in the lead under brakes, and there's the pass for position.
It's a nice dive under there, yeah, and he's holding her out just through turn 6 there, and he's going to get the run.
I'll tell you what, hats off to young Chelsea. I mean, she's only 18 years old, or 19 years old, I think she is now, and she's pedaling that big Ford Falcon around, and she's a tiny little thing as well, so she's doing pretty well.
Yeah, well, she's just talking to the guys, talking to Lance, and that she's definitely a hard racer. She sticks her elbows out when she needs to, and she knows when she needs to do it as well.
Yeah, so it's carrying a pace, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's got sort of looks like a 2-second gap over Griffin. He's got a clear bit of space with Andrew in front of him. So I think he's just sitting there, just maintaining his laps. No point in pushing the car and risking it. I mean, there's just over half an hour left to go. So he's got a good break between Griffiths behind him, and might as well sit there and just leave it as it is.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to give you a rundown of the top 15 at this point in time. It is Matt Whittaker in the 991 at the front, then it's Matt Griffin in the BMW M3. We go back to Ian Hare in the 997 GT3, from Chelsea Herbert in the BA Ford Falcon. Then it's John DeVeth and Glenn Smith next out in the Super Tourer development car. Then Rick Cooper and Alexander Whitley, with Alexander behind the wheel at the moment, in the Ford Mustang.
We got Ruddy and Wardy going side by side down the back straight again in the damp. That's always...
Yep, well, they're running 7th and 8th on the road at the moment. Then it's Graham Fraser in the BMW, then Bruce Kett in the what we call the Shed. That's the Ford Falcon with a Chevy engine in it. And then we've got Graham McCormick, Barry Kirkman, another Mustang, Andrew Nugent just in behind him, Bernard Varight and Charles Rollo. That's your top 15 as they're running on the track at the moment. So for those of you out there watching online, once again, we do apologise if the commentary is not kind of lining up with what you're watching, but unfortunately we don't have a live feed at the moment. We've still got a break in our system here, so we're doing this live from up, so we can't see what you're watching online, but that gives you an idea of what's actually happening out on track at the moment anyway.
Yeah, but as we're getting further into the race now, the dry line's actually getting wider now. We're almost got 2 lines through turn, or two car widths through turn 1 here as well, which is just going to create a few more passing opportunities down into here as well.
I'll tell you what, I wonder why I've just figured out why you were so eager to come up here and give us a hand. You're picking up a bit of info.
Absolutely. Any inside info we can get is always good. Always good.
Here comes our second place man across the line now, Matt Griffin, and tell you what, he's going well. He's doing 1:10.3 is his fastest lap that time. Oh no, his fastest time is a 1:09.1, which is pretty impressive for that car.
Absolutely, and he's still keeping Ian out behind him as well. Simon's only really just got that car back up and running as well, which is great.
Yeah, there's that battle still going on between DeVeth and Hare, and I tell you, something tells me that that's going to boil over.
Oh yes, yeah, and Cal Macbeth nearly squeezed one of the Porsches there going through turn 3.
And the interesting part about it is they're actually best mates, those guys. So... Oh, look at this. Here comes the pass. DeVeth down the outside of Hare as they go down into the complex. And he's pulled it off. I tell you what, that's late on brakes.
Very, very late. He must be so confident on those brakes. And the downside with John is actually he's running in the 3 hours. So
yeah, well, they're running the Camaro in the 3 hour.
So they're actually getting better intel than I am.
Well, yeah, they are. That's right. So now... So well, I suppose you guys don't know, do you? You don't know what the pace difference is between you guys and the Camaro.
No. I mean, testing on Friday was very much hit and miss, just the amount of water we had. But Lance was very, very confident in the car and the pace we had. It was my first half a dozen laps, so it was a bit iffy for myself. But
okay, now here comes DeVeth down here now. I think it might be. Is it DeVeth in the car or is it Glenn?
Go around the outside of Barry, is he?
Actually, I'll tell you what.
He's just cut Barry.
I think it might be John in the car now. I think Glenn might have started the race because the car's a lot more aggressive than it was in the previous, before the pit stop. Now, yeah, I mean, you would know yourself. When you're the co-driver, you're not going to be as aggressive as the guy who owns the car, are you?
Absolutely, and ultimately, you just want to make sure you get that car home.
That's right. Yeah, and Glenn is an incredibly good peddler. I mean, he owns the Camaro that we'll be seeing out here later on, but he also runs that 1,000 horsepower GD1 Porsche.
Yeah, the Crawfords, yes.
Yeah, the Crawford Porsche, which was actually the speed show last night. An awesome looking car. So 1,000 horsepower. That's a in fact, I think doesn't that hold the upright lap record on the international track?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sorry, second fastest. We still have the AGT running slightly quicker.
Hang on a minute. Isn't Kenny? I think Kenny's got it with the Formula 5000, isn't he? I think.
Oh, you've got me thinking there now. Yeah. Actually, that many laps around there, you kind of lose track of it a little bit.
Well, there we go. So it's who have we got down here in the?
Is that Matt washing right again? Matt Whitaker just coming washing wide as he came through one again.
So
that would have been Ian here. Just pushed a little bit wide going through turn one there. He lost a place back.
Okay, so I tell you what, John has absolutely bolted in that Commodore. He's gone. Let's have a look. What's his times? 105.
So
yeah,
he's a good second and a half clear of the next fastest car on the track at the moment.
He sure is. What's Matt doing? Matt's 107s, yeah. So
Matt's last time was a 108.
Yeah, and John's
sitting on a 110, but obviously he's in a bit of traffic at the moment.
Ian's dropped well back, 112s that time. Rick Cooper put his fastest lap in the last time round, or Alexander, I should say. And so did Bruce Kett. And those two are running together on the road. Hang on a minute. That's Whitaker. There's Veth. That's getting really close.
That's getting very, very close. I think they're within 3. I think it's about 3 seconds by the looks of it. The distance. So John's really got the bit between his teeth at the moment. I think he can see the tail lights going.
For Bruce Kett, number 351, has just set a personal best.
Yeah, I mean, we've still got John Veth. He's sort of still knocking out lap times, which are a couple of seconds quicker than Matt Whitaker. So it'll be interesting to see whether John can make any more.
Well, you're saying a couple of seconds better. The gap's only 1.5, so potentially we'll see this time round that he's actually on the tail of the Matt Whitaker's Porsche.
Yeah, just trying to pick them up around the track there. I think they're just coming out of the hairpin now. So here comes Matt, by the looks of it, up over the top of the hill. But they're starting to get into the traffic now, which is actually going to work in John's favour, John Veth's favour. And he's
actually
just going for the pass.
Oh, eager down the inside. Going into turn one, we've got the Porsche. He's now looking left, he's looking right.
And John's actually quite confident going down the inside of 2 at the moment. Is he going to make the dive? So just a slight hold up there by Kett for Whitaker. So
I think John fell back just a little bit to try and get a run out of the corner, but it's sort of backfired. Although actually he's closing in.
He's closing at ridiculous speeds.
So maybe it's actually worked for him, getting that run under brakes. He's right on the tail of Matt Whitaker's Porsche.
Yeah, and another bunch of traffic just going through 5 and 6 there. So this will be interesting to see what kicks out of there and down into the hairpin.
So that last lap through, he was John Veth's car is still 1.5 seconds a lap quicker, but he can't get the pass. Although he had to come out of the hairpin side by side, I believe.
I actually think he's got him.
So the portion of the Falcon have just touched, I believe. It's just call over the radio. Commodore, sorry.
So John's now got the lead. Ian's dropped back, so there's definitely some contact.
We're missing the Porsche. Has he gone? The Porsche has just come into pit lane, so a series of events have unfolded there with John Veth's Commodore coming into the lead, and the Porsche is now in the pits. So in second place will be now Ian here.
So hopefully that's nothing serious. Hopefully it's maybe just. Well, I would hope it'd be a scheduled pit stop because it's right getting towards the end of the pit window.
You never know with a touch. He's got a couple of 100 metres to the side. If anything doesn't feel quite right, whether he comes into pit lane or he takes turn 1 at full speed and potentially sees something in the wall.
Yeah, and that's kind of the last thing you want here at Puke, because you're touching well over 200 k's going into turn 1 here, particularly in something like the GT3. So yeah.
So the team will probably have the car. He's coming out now, so they've probably had a quick check just to make sure nothing's bent or out of line.
Yeah, there's definitely a nice few rub marks down on the left-hand side in front of the rear wheel, so there's definitely been some contact there.
And Honda's actually looking to pass him, so he's taking it fairly gingerly just to start with, so he's maybe still not 100% happy with what he's feeling through the wheel. Yeah,
which is a shame. That could have ended up being quite a good battle for the lead there between those guys.
And John Veth has no sign of slowing down. He's just set a best lap of the race at a 105.6, which is a good second better than his previous best lap. So he's definitely got the hammer and tong out.
Yeah, and he's just over 7 seconds ahead of second place.
Yeah, and Ian here's half a second a lap slower, so that gap is going to hold, or if not increase.
It's going to increase, yeah. Which is going to be good. It's going to be good, which means that young Matt Griffin can hopefully.
Well, Matt Griffin's 19 seconds behind, so
yeah, and Matt's still running relatively close pace to what Ian's doing. So hopefully now Matt's on third, he might just get the bit between his teeth again, realising he's got a podium and maybe even getting a second out of it.
The supercars and the Super Tourers and the TLX cars were going to come into their own on this track as compared with the GT3 cars because of the bumps here, realistically, and the high-speed nature of the circuit.
Absolutely. I mean, although I only had a few laps yesterday in the TLX, we've got the pace in the straight line. For us, the GT3s, obviously they've got the aero working for them, and that makes a huge difference, particularly under brakes into turn 1 here and into turn 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to be an interesting race. It's going to be a bit of that cat and mouse. One lap here, one lap there.
If it was in the dry at Hampton Downs, the GT3 cars, because of the nature of that track, there's a lot of flowing, there's a lot of corners, and it's high speed, low speed corners. In the dry there, the GT3s are going to have the edge. Here, I think the edge tips towards, and I'm picking the Chester's car is going to be the one to watch. Not that you guys won't be there, mate, but you know.
No, I mean for us, definitely. I mean, Chester's are ahead of us in the championship.
Yeah.
So for us, they've got the target on their back. We're gunning for those guys. And 3 abreast into turn 1. John Veth one side, Cal McBeth in the middle.
I tell you what, he's looking in his mirror and he can see Whitaker coming. Because let's have a look. Now, hang on a minute. I'm looking at the sort mode. Running order on the road is John Veth, Ian Hare, Matt Griffin, Matt Whitaker. Now, I can't see out there where Matt Whitaker... Beautiful car, actually. Okay, we just had the call that the safety car is going to go green this lap. So let's give you a rundown. Who's running where? Okay, it's John Veth and Glenn Smith at the front in the... Super Tourer right in behind, then it will be Ian Hare, although he's 4th in this queue at this point in time. Then it's young Matt Whitaker in the BMW M3 GTR. Just trying to pick up where he's sitting in the queue. He's actually right in behind Ian Hare on the road, so how he managed to pull that off, I don't know, after his pit stop, and squeeze himself back into the end of the queue. That was a pretty cheeky little move. Then look where Andrew Nugent's popped up in 4th position, just in front of Rick Cooper. Then it's Bruce Kett. Then Graham Fraser in that little orange BMW. He's 2nd on the road at the moment, but he's running 7th in the race. Then it's Matt Griffin. He's down in 8th position at this point in time. So he's behind Rick Cooper on points. And considerably behind him, actually. So that could be a change of position in the championship, because I'm just looking at it here, and young Matt is on 173 and Rick Cooper is on 138. Now they are... I'm just trying to do some maths in my head, which I'm not very good at, so I'll try and work that out. So I don't think there's enough points to change it. I'm not sure.
No, I think there's still going to be that gap between them, but But then saying looking further down, Barry Kirk Bernanda actually sitting there quite nicely, so he's going to be moving up, possibly up the points as well, maybe.
Yeah, well, of course, Barry bought that car because basically because Rick blew him off last year with the Mustang, blew his BMW off. So so Barry went to the States and bought that Mustang.
And it's actually a very, very impressive car. If you ever get a chance to wander down the pits and have a look at it, it's a very, very trick bit of car for the spec that it's sitting at. So it's great.
But, okay, over the top of the hill they come, and we have got a green light on them now as Johnny Veth brings them over the top of the hill.
Very wide there by John.
And look at Matt Whitaker out there. He's just absolutely going to grab everything he possibly can get. Here's
Down
Andrew Nugent down the inside of Barry Kirk-Bernand as they come down into turn one. Fraser in the BMW jumps to the left, lets Whitaker through. Hare goes through. Matt Griffin follows him through as well. And then, Deveth's gone. He's got that big 7-litre pumped up and he's gone.
God, you've got to feel sorry for Fraser there, losing sort of four or five spots just off that restart there. But yeah, Deveth's got 5-6 seconds on everyone at the moment.
But he's Graham's he's lost spots on the road, but he hasn't lost his position in the race. There's no two ways about that. Although Matt Griffin is going to be coming at him. Actually, Matt Griffin would have got him, so that will be a pass for position because Matt was behind him at that point in time on the race. So down into the hairpin they go, and we have just on 3 minutes 10 seconds left to run, so which is about 2 laps.
2 or 3 laps, yep. Which will be good. Nice way to finish the 1 hour series. Good little sprint, bunch everyone back out.
Okay, we've got a spinner at the hairpin, and it looks like a Porsche from here. Is that Ian Hare? It is. It's Ian Hare. Ian Hare has flicked it round at the hairpin.
Oh, no. So that's going to bring Matt Whitaker back up into second place.
And not only has it flicked him off into the hairpin, I'd say, judging by the amount of water we had yesterday, he'll be axle deep out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the session on Friday, there was definitely a pond out there, but it was draining. But yeah, it was going to be soft out there, and I think we just had the call that the last lap board's going to go out next lap round as well, which is. So it's going to make it a good dash.
So let's just hope that they're going to just run this under a localised yellow down there. We certainly don't want another safety car with 1 lap to go. And I know the race control here do a fantastic job, so I don't think they'll let that happen. No, Deveth through the hairpin now.
No, I think their Porsche's far enough offline to not warrant it. And we should even be able to get away with actually not having a yellow down there. So
I can imagine how blue the air is in that Porsche at the moment.
Yes, I definitely would like to have an in-car camera on that one.
Yeah. Last lap board out now. Here he comes, Johnny Veth across the line with him and the co-driver Glenn Smith. We'll see them again. Whitaker, who is now going to pop up into second position as he takes... and he sets his fastest lap of the race in the process with a 1:07.029. Yeah. I think he fancies he might still have a crack at the lead Commodore, but I don't think he's got a hope in Hades, to be honest with you.
Well, saying that, John Deveth's lap was only 0.2 of a second off the fastest lap of the race at the moment anyway.
Well, you're wrong there, yeah. So as they go down a good scrap down here between the Toyota 86 and the V8 Ute. And there's a whole gaggle of cars in there. There's one car I haven't seen there. One car I haven't seen today is young Ben McDonald in the McDonald Halligan Motors T86. I don't think he turned up today.
No, there was unfortunately the change of date. It was changed from Saturday to Sunday. Just did put a few of them off. Other prior engagements and stuff. But we were lucky. John Hume was able to accommodate us.
Here he comes, Johnny Veth. Put your hands together for him, folks. Across the line, it is the Farmlands Commodore of John Veth, and Glenn Smith takes out the 1 hour race. In second position, it is Matt Whitaker in the International Motorsport Porsche 991 GT3, takes out second place. In third, it will be Andrew Nugent. And here he comes down in the Burrows seating BMW M3, and young Bruce Keck and Rick Cooper is going to take out fourth. And here he comes across the line now. Rick Cooper and Alexander Whiteley. Oh no, it's Rick at the wheel actually. And then Bruce Keck will take out fifth. Matt Griffin from sixth. He's gone across the line. Barry Kirk-Bernand comes through in eighth. Great job from Barry there.
That's a great job from Barry, definitely.
Yeah, and then it will be Bernard Wright comes up, and that's John Deveth's brother-in-law. He comes up in a ninth. And Cameron McCormick takes out 10th position. Look at the battle here between the Utes, all three of them together.
Close together.
Know better than anybody how hard it is to rejig things to accommodate people, don't you?
Absolutely, and as a track, it's it's a venue that is well used, and being able to switch things around such short notice, and even the work they've done overnight just help with the drainage has been fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I know Hampton's a fantastic circuit. You know, I live there. I love the place. But Puke Park's always been my home, and it is a lot of history here. I mean, you know, names like John Surtees, Graham Hill, Jim Clark. You know, the place just reeks history.
Absolutely, it's one of those nostalgic places, and in a way you can actually fit it in with the likes of Goodwood's and Brands Hatch Grand Prix, because it's got such a big history in it, and it's had so many various winners across various classes throughout the years.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, well, thanks again, Elton. We'll say goodbye for a little while. We'll wish you and Lance all the best this afternoon. We hope you have a great race and wish you well. And we're going to take a break now, folks, while the presentations are being done down in pit lane. And I'll be back with you with James Watson after the break.
To do is say congratulations to our series winners for the 1 hour. Matt Whitaker, congratulations. Series cups. Where's the series cups? Big one, big one. There we go. Thank you. Sorry. Well done. Would you like to say something, Matt?
No, Karen,
Not yet.
Sorry, she's being.
Okay.
Lucy's doing the interview.
Second,
You just.
John DeVeth. And third overall for the series, Matt Griffin.
Yes. Looking over this way, mate. Give us a yay.
Woohoo!
Bloody good stuff. Okay, you boys, just let's have a photo with the three of you together. Just like that. Yep. Awesome.
I want some popcorn.
Okay. We'll do another one. Yep.
Come forward. All right, we're down here, third place overall in the series. Matt Griffin, what a ripper series you've had.
Mate, what a race. Went off about 3 times, I think. Had a flat tyre. It was just all on. So I'm just bloody happy that I could finish. Thanks to my team, they've done a fantastic job with the tyre change, fuel stop. Oh, mate, it's so hot in that car. I'm just glad to be getting some fresh air. But no, very, very happy. And yeah, thanks to my team, Mortimer Motorsport.
So how did you actually find the track out there with the drying conditions?
Oh, so slippery. It was terrible, to be honest. Just had to try and be very careful, keep it on the track. I had a left front tyre which was going flat every lap, so just very happy to finish.
Well, congratulations, and definitely got a bright future ahead of you, so best of luck for the rest of the year.
Thank you, I bloody hope so.
Moving on to second place overall.
Oh, second overall.
Oh,
yeah.
overall,
Yeah.
Here we are. John, how
Yes.
was it out there?
Oh, awesome. This guy loves Puke. I like Puke. And my mate Glenn drove first half and kept it on the track and did a bloody good job. So all they do was take over and just keep the pace up.
Excellent.
And I was fortunate, probably Matt let me get this one because this car wasn't turned in probably with the suspension, and she's a pretty bumpy track. So I'll take it, and I'm really wrapped and enjoyed the race. Actually had a good battle with a friend of mine, Ian here, but unfortunately his car let him down. But I had a good battle with him, so it really got my heart going, and enjoyed it. So it's good.
Well, congratulations, and what can we see from you for the rest of the year?
Well, I'm in the 3-hour race next with my mate Glenn. We're doing half drive each in the 1 hour and a half each in the 3 hour. So in the Camaro in the next race, and she's going to be busy, full on and hot, and but I'm looking forward to it. It's a good track.
Well, congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you back here shortly.
Thank you.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner, Matty.
Yeah, thank
How
you.
was it out there for you?
It was a bit of a wild ride, really. The car was it was the first sort of dry run, so we didn't quite get the setup right, and it wouldn't go over the bumps or get over the hill or turn into turn 1. So we were always destined for second place. Well, probably third if Ian hadn't had his issues. So yeah, it was just a matter of getting home, and we had a couple of incidences during the race. So just lucky to make it home, really. Yeah.
Well, congratulations, and
Thank you.
what are we going to see from you for the rest of the year? What else can
I
you
don't know,
win?
TBC. Yeah, I'm not too sure. We'd like to go to the South Island, but maybe the 101s. I don't know. We'll have to see.
You heard it here first, everyone. Well, congratulations, and
Thank you.
look forward to seeing you back out on the track
Appreciate
soon.
it. Good job. Cheers.